Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I'm finally filming what a good majority of you have been waiting on. I'm gonna film a story time about the time I dated a literal fucking psychopath. So, let's get started. He randomly hit me up on Snapchat one day. At the time that he hit me up, I was working like 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. So like my shifts were really weird. It was really hard to see anyone or date with my schedule. Not to mention I'd never really dated before anyways. So we started talking in March. Hit me up on Snapchat and was like asking all these questions. We FaceTimed that night and we kind of talked. He looked like his pictures, so I was like, okay, cool. Like he's cute, he's attractive, whatever. So we made plans for like the next day to go to this place called Tyson's Taco. And so we met up, I think it was like 11 o'clock at night. So I was just like really appreciative that he worked with my work schedule. So we met up at Tyson's Taco and we got dinner, whatever. The date went really well. We sat there, we talked for like 2 hours. Like it was a long ass date, but it was a really good date. Really good first date. And we just kind of talked, like we talked about what we did for a living. He was a manager at Verizon at the time. So it went really well. And then the next day he texted me, he was like, hey, come see me at my store. Cause like I said, he was a manager at Verizon, right? So I went and saw him before I went to work the next day. We had been texting. I think it might've been like a day or two that I didn't see him. And then I had game night, cause that's one thing I do with my friends. Like I have game nights. So I had game night that weekend and I invited him. So he came over and it was me, this girl that I'm not really friends with anymore, her boyfriend, our other friend China, like if you follow me you know who China is, her ex, and then me and him. So it was like couples. It was fun, whatever. I posted a video of all of us on my Snapchat story. And whenever I posted the video of us, this girl that I had been in like group chats and stuff, I don't really know her, like I've never met her in person. But me and the girl I used to be friends with that was at game night, me and her had both been in group chats with her. And so she slid up on my story and was like, hey, is this at, insert his Snapchat name here. And I was like, yeah, like, why, what's up? She was like, oh, he sent me unsolicited dick pics. And I was like, oh, wow, like, yikes, that's crazy. When did he do that? And she was like, literally like 2 or 3 days ago. And like, red flag. First of all, what grown-ass man is just out here sending unsolicited dick pics? But at the time, like, he wasn't my boyfriend. We literally just started talking, so I didn't hold it against him. I didn't even bring it up that night that I found out. But yeah, game night went really well. He ended up sleeping over. And then the next day, like, we went and got pedicures, we went and got lunch. After game night, I would say we probably hung out with each other at least 3 to 5 times a week. Things escalated quick. Like, we were around each other all the fucking time. So at that point, I was only working one job. I decided it was a good idea for me to get a dog. So I adopted a dog from the shelter. And then it turns out the store that he worked at was very close to my apartment. Like it was way closer to my apartment than it was his rent house. He offered to like take care of my dog and stuff for me when I would work long hours. Like, cause I would go to work at 2 and his lunch would normally be at like 3, 4, 5 o'clock. And then he would be off by like 8 and I wouldn't get off till 10:30 or 11. So I gave him a key to my apartment because he was like, hey, like, I'll take care of your dog. So I gave him a key. I was like, fuck yeah, like, go off. After that, things still went well for a little while. And then I finally, maybe like a week later, I finally brought up the whole unsolicited dick picture thing. So I talked to him about sending the dick picture to her. And like, he just kind of shut down. And then we kind of didn't talk for like a day or two. Then I texted him and was like, hey, come over. So like, he came over. We didn't really talk about it. We kind of just avoided it and just went back to normal. Then we start talking to each other again. We're spending a ton of time together. And then he signs up for this basketball league in San Antonio. So he was in San Antonio every single weekend. But with that being said, he was also at my house from like Monday through Thursday. So I was like, whatever. At this point, whatever, like he hasn't given me any reasons not to trust him, so I'm gonna trust him. He's in San Antonio every weekend playing basketball. Shit's going smooth for like, I guess like a month or two. A few months go by, shit's sweet, whatever. And then one day I came home. Keep in mind, like remember I told you guys he has a key. So like I came home from work, it was like 11:30. I like go to walk up my stairs, like, cause I used to live on the 2nd floor. So I went to like walk up my stairs and as I'm coming up, he's coming down with the dog. Like the dog's on the leash, whatever. So then he's outside walking my dog. So I get back in my apartment and his laptop is out. I'm not a crazy bitch. I don't go through phones. Like, I don't do that. So his laptop was out. I was sitting there just chilling, playing on my phone, whatever. And then, like, you know, whenever you have a MacBook and you get a text, it like dings really loud and then it pops up across the screen. Obviously, if I'm sitting there and the laptop's in front of me and he gets a text, it shows across the screen, I'm gonna read it. Anyone would do that. Like, it's in front of my face. I read it. And it was from some girl talking about, oh, I just like got out of the shower and took my hair down. What about you? At this point, we're still not officially together. It could be his sister. It could be the girl that twists his hair. I don't know. I didn't say anything about it. I literally just got really quiet. And when he got back inside, I went to sleep. Didn't talk to him about it. It's whatever. So anyways, at this point, I start paying attention to like who he follows on social media, who follows him back, like the likes and the comments on his Instagram. Noticed he followed this local girl, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, like whatever. Like, I'm paying attention to all these little things, and like they kind of bother me, but it's nothing crazy. A lot of stuff has went down, and like we've kind of talked about things, and we haven't. So I end up cutting him off because he can't communicate. Next thing I know, can't insert her name. Let's just call her Brittany. This girl that I used to be friends with, let's call her Brittany. Brittany shows me his Snapchat story of him making out with said girl that I peeped him following on Instagram. Cool? Fun. No telling how long that had been going on because I peeped him following her like 2 or 3 weeks before all of this happened. How cute, how fun, whatever. I'm a dumb bitch. Then a couple days later, he literally hit me up talking about I miss you, like I want to come over, he was drunk, whatever. And I was like, you were literally just on your Snapchat making out with another girl. His response was, and I quote, she's lesbian. Y'all had each other's tongues down your throat. Like, it wasn't just like a cute little kiss or like a peck. Like, they were full on making out. And I was like, okay. Still stupid, got back together with him. And so when we got back together that time, I asked him about her and I was like, look, like if we're gonna be together, like I'm really not comfortable with you guys like being friends or whatever, because he told me they'd only hung out to smoke and it was basically like, it was legit just friendly, like nothing had ever happened between them. But also I saw his Snapchat story of them fucking making out, like I'm not stupid. So we get back together. And then shit's going good for a few weeks, a couple months, whatever. So I book a cruise. I already had a cruise planned in September with my family anyways. So I booked a cruise and paid for him to come. Like paid for him to have his own suite. Like obviously I was going to stay in it, but I was already booked with my cousin. So paid for him to have his own suite, okay? Shit's been going smooth for a good like month or two at this point. Anyway, shit's been going good for a couple months. I book a cruise. He randomly breaks up with me a month before we go on our cruise. So anyways, we break up before the cruise. I'm low-key like devastated over it, but also like never let myself get attached because I knew he was planning on moving off and like he had brought it up a few times as well. I start talking to my other ex. Turns out he was working like 2 hours from me, so I started talking to him again. The cruise was like mid-September, like I want to say it was like the 9th through the 13th. I don't know, it was really weird dates, but cruise is in September. So he hits me up like 2 weeks before the cruise. He texted me and was like, I was just scared to admit that I was in love with you, like I have real feelings for you and I was just scared to admit it, but like I love you, blah, 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 blah. I start entertaining him again. He never tells me he loves me, like never once said it, nothing like that. At this point, I'm still talking to my ex, like the other ex. So like I kind of entertain it just to see, and like he tells me all this shit about how he's gonna do better and like appreciate me and like wants to go on the cruise and just show my family that he's my man and blah, 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 blah. And so I'm like, cool, like we're gonna entertain it. Like all this shit's supposed to change. I start talking to him for 2 weeks. Obviously I'm still acting single and like posting online like I'm single because sir, I am single. We're not back together. You want back in my life, I'm fucking single. The day before the cruise, he still hadn't requested off for work. Keep in mind, this cruise has been booked for months, like for months. He still hadn't requested off of work, still hasn't packed, none of that, hasn't done any of that. So I was like, you know what? Shit hasn't changed. I was like, I don't know if I can handle, like at this point, like he was really annoying. I was like, I don't think I can handle being on a boat with him for 5 days. So I texted him and I was like, you know what? Maybe it's better if you don't come. Then he sent me this long message, like super pissed, and like I get it. I deserved that. I told him not to come on a cruise 12 hours before we left. And then after that, Didn't talk to him. Didn't talk to him for a good September, October, like a month, not even a month. And then he hits me up on October 3rd and just like randomly texted me for no reason. At this point, the other ex I was talking to was back home taking care of family things, but also wasn't giving me any attention or like anything like that I needed. And so I was like, you know what, fuck it, like I'm having game night tonight, come over, we'll see how things go. He came over and shit was great. The biggest thing whenever he came back to game night, he told me he loved me. He told me he loved me in person, like around all my friends, and it was so cute. And I was like, oh, like my heart, like it was so good. That night, he ended up staying over and we got back together. Like we basically agreed on it. Like we got back together, we were together, we were in a relationship. That was October 3rd. We're back together. Shit's going great. Shit's going amazing. He's at my house all the time. The only thing is, he just recently totaled his car. So I let him drive mine around. Like I would work from like 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock every night. Sometimes I wouldn't go in until like 10, 11 or 12. But for the most part, I would work from like 9 to 9. So he would take my car during those times. And then like my roommate would come pick me up from work. And then like, I don't know. Or I would like pick him up from work because he was working at like nights at a hotel. It was a mess. Like we shared my car. We shared my fucking car. A couple weeks go by, shit's still going perfect. Like we're sharing my car, whatever. He's like looking around, like car shopping. It's chill. All of a sudden he's like, hey, can I move in with you? We had kind of talked about it like jokingly, like, haha, we should just live together. Like you're here all the time. His old roommate kicked him out. Another red flag, considering his roommate is literally his best friend since high school. His roommate kicked him out. So guess where he moves in? Moves in here. Moves in with me, okay? Moves in with me. This is October 15th. Moves in, shit's going fantastic. But then, keep in mind, like, he's already been kind of shady, so I still pay attention to, like, who he follows, who comments on his shit, all those good things. So one day he posted this screenshot on his Snapchat story. And if you have multiple Instagram accounts hooked up to your Instagram, on the bottom right corner, it'll show like a circle tab, like with your account picture. And so I texted him, I was like, hey, do you have multiple Instagram accounts, question mark? And he was like, no, this one is my only one, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, that's weird, because like when you're signed into multiple accounts, it'll show you, like, it'll show like that in the bottom, but if you're only signed into one, it won't. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm logged into this girl's Instagram account. So he sends me a screenshot of this girl's Instagram and I start digging. I find her Twitter. This bitch is like 18, 19 years old. This man is 28 or 27, about to be 28 in January. 27 years old, logged into an 18, 19-year-old's Instagram account. And I like, that was we had a huge fight over it. And he was like, we're just friends, like nothing ever happened. I was like, but how did you meet her? Come to find out, he met her on Tinder. She doesn't have a car. She lives in the apartments at UT. She's lesbian. Also, when we had broken up, he used her pictures. Like he used to sell her nudes and finesse men into like meetups and all this other shit. And I was like, okay, well, first of all, what the fuck? Second of all, why are you 27 years old logged into an 18, 19-year-old's Instagram account? He comes at me with, you're only 20. What's the difference? First of all, my 21st birthday is in like a month. Secondly, I've lived on my own since I was 17. I had to grow up and mature quickly because I was forced to. Like, this bitch just graduated high school. Like, yes, I might be 20, 21, and she might be 18, 19, but I graduated high school 4 years ago. There's a huge fucking difference. Like, you have no friends that aren't your age. You barely have friends at all. If you have no friends that aren't your age, and then you're gonna be friends with a random 18-year-old, and they smoke together, like, often. And I was like, what the fuck? So we got in a huge fight over that, threatened to move out and like had me send the rent money he had sent me back, like talked about how he'd pack up his shit and get out, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, if you're like willing to end our relationship that easy over something like this, like that's a huge sign. But my dumbass was attached. So obviously I was like, you know what? Like this isn't that big of a deal. It's not worth losing you over. Like, let's just chill out. Like, I'm not comfortable with you talking to her, but like, let's just chill out for a little bit. So that was literally like October. That was a week after he had moved in. Another thing I noticed whenever he first moved in was his phone was always on airplane mode. Like, he would leave it in the kitchen to charge at night and wouldn't leave it in our room. Like, it was always on airplane mode if he wasn't on it, or like if it was charging, or anywhere else in the house. And then after I found out that he was stealing that girl's pictures and like meeting up with people, or like fake meeting up with people, whatever, I asked him if he had a second Snapchat and he told me no. Remember this. Noticed his phone's on airplane mode all the time. I talked to him about it and he was like, cause like I just get a lot of notifications and I didn't want you to think I'm cheating on you or talking to other girls, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you know what, whatever. He like gave me his passcode. I'm not the type of bitch that looks through phones. So I did not go through it. So shit's going good for a little while. We ended up planning a trip to Colorado in early November. It was perfect. Like, we had a great time in Colorado. It was an amazing trip. On our trip to Colorado, we also ended up planning a trip to New Orleans for my birthday, like right after my birthday. My birthday fell on Thanksgiving this year, which was November 28th. We planned a trip to New Orleans the like 1st through the 3rd, or the 1st through the 5th, or some shit like that. We get back home, and then immediately after we get back home, he goes to Georgia to stay with his dad for a little bit, or wherever the fuck his dad lives. And he's there for a little while, and like he starts talking different while he was literally there for like a week. He started talking different, and then he kept telling me like how his dad was trying to buy him vehicles, and like his dad really wanted him to go there, like move back there, and like like yeah, like he kept talking about like how his dad wanted to move in with him out there and like go to school out there and blah blah blah. And I was like that's cool. Like, I support that. Like, if that's what you want to do, like, I just want you to be happy, and I want you to do what it takes for you to be happy and like be successful. At this point, I asked him, and I was like, look, like, I just need to know this before I get too attached to you. Do you see me in your future, or is this just kind of a fun thing for right now? Because either way, I'm down. But like, I just need to know so that I can adjust my, like, I can keep my feelings straight, right? So then he proceeds to tell me that no, like, he sees me in his future, and like sees us having a future together, talks about like buying houses in Colorado, like all this other shit that I've never heard him talk like this before. The entire time from March up until this point in like late October, never in my life have I heard him talk about us having a future together, anything like that. That's why I did not let myself get attached, did not let myself, like, none of that. Okay? After talking about like what we were, shit's like going pretty good. A few weeks go by, and all of a sudden I get a call from an unknown number while I was at work one day, and he's like, hey, it's me, I wrecked my car last night. He called me at like 2:30 in the afternoon talking about I wrecked my car last night. And you're just now calling me? Why are you calling me from an unknown number? Well, my phone flew out the window. And you see, this could be real. Until, come to find out, here's the backstory of how he wrecked this car. This is his brand new car, by the way. Like, remember whenever he first moved in with me and like was using my car? Well, he got a new car, like a brand new, really, really nice car. Wrecked it! So, calls me and tells me that he wrecked his car. I asked what happened. The story changed 3 times. The first time, he told me that him and his friend were in the parking lot of his friend's apartment complex and just ran into a car. And then he told me that him and his friend had left to go get weed, and then his friend like wanted to drive the car back, so he let the friend drive back and wrecked the car in the parking lot, hit one car. And then he tells me that they went to Taco Bell in the middle of the night, and on the way home, homeboy wanted to drive. And then they wrecked the car in the parking lot, hit one car. So then he sends me pictures of his car. And I'm like, how is there so much damage for you of just, like, first of all, how? And if you're driving, like, how is there so much damage, and how is it on both sides of the car if you only hit one car? And he's like, well, we actually hit 4. 4 cars in this apartment complex parking lot. What do? They go hide the car in a neighborhood and pretend it didn't happen. So then he's sitting there stressed, asked me to drive all the way to San Antonio. That's an hour from where I live. Asked me to drive all the way to San Antonio to pick him up. And then we're back sharing my car again. That whole story has never added up to me. That was a huge red flag. There was lots of tension after that. This was the week before Thanksgiving. So there's lots of tension. I have plans to go back home for Thanksgiving. Obviously, he can't go back home because he can't drive anywhere. He was supposed to drive back home to El Paso for Thanksgiving. But guess what? He totaled his car and can't drive anywhere. Not to mention, is also lying about it because he doesn't know what he's gonna do. So I asked him, keep in mind, my birthday is a really big deal to me. This year was my 21st birthday. So the job I was working, I had to work Black Friday. So after all my Thanksgiving festivities with my family, I had to drive 6.5 hours home by myself. So I asked him and I was like, hey, do you want to come to Louisiana with me and like meet my family? Just come for Thanksgiving so you're not alone. He's like, no, I think I'm just gonna stay here, chill out, like try to get a flight and see my flight to my dad's, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, cool. Like that hurt my feelings a lot just because like I had expressed to him that I didn't want to be alone on my birthday. My birthday was a big deal to me, blah, 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 blah. He literally did not give a flying fuck. Did not give a fuck. So the whole time I'm in Louisiana, I'm already annoyed about the car situation because I know he's lying to me about it. Everything else up until this point is just like red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red fucking flag. So at this point, I'm fed up. I am so fed up. We argued the entire time I was in Louisiana. And when I first started driving home, I told myself, I was like, as soon as I get home, I'm talking to him and he's either gonna have to get his shit together or get the fuck out. I'm driving home. I'm an hour away, like an hour away from being home, and he texts me. He was like, hey, I'm moving out. I don't have rent for this month. Keep in mind, rent's due on the 1st. Rent is due on the 1st. He texted me this on the 28th, 29th, 30th. 2 days. Text me 2 days before rent is due, talking about I don't have rent money and I'm moving out. I was like, you know what? That's great. I think we should break up. Completely ignored me. Literally completely ignored me. I get home and I'm just bawling. Like I get home, I'm crying. I take a shower, still crying. Get out of the shower, lay in bed for 4 hours and bawl my fucking eyes out. I'm there bawling my eyes out, and you know what he's doing? He's sitting at my desk in my room watching football on the laptop. On my laptop at that. Watching football on my laptop. And then whenever that's done, he turns on a movie and watches a movie while I lay in my bed bawling my eyes out for 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours. So finally I'm like, you know what, can we just like talk about things? Like, do you want to talk? He's like, I'm just really stressed out about my car, and then you're adding on top of it and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what, I get that. And like, I don't want you to, like, he doesn't have anywhere to go in Austin. He's talking about, I'm moving out. And I was like, you know what, like, you can stay not longer than a month, but you can stay as long as you need to. I don't want to just kick you out. Like, I want us to be friends. Like, I feel like we can end this well, blah, 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 blah. He literally doesn't really acknowledge it. We get in bed, we go to sleep. It's whatever. So that was the 28th. We already had a trip planned to New Orleans in December. So I guess we're still going on our fucking trip. Like, thinking back on it, it's like, there's little things. Like, he used to make jokes about murdering me. like we'd just be laying on my couch chilling, watching TV, and be like, what if I just killed you right now? Like, what if I just strangled you? Or what if I just choked you out? Or like, what if you just drowned? Like, random ass shit. Like, what if I just killed you right now? Like, who does that, first of all? We went on our first date. He told me that, A, he was in school to finish his doctor's degree. That was a lie. Or to get a degree in physical therapy. That was a lie. Told me he owned a condo in Thailand. And I believed him, because why wouldn't I? So many lies for no apparent reason. Okay, so like I'm editing this right now. Ignore the face mask. I didn't realize how long this video was gonna be when I first filmed it, so obviously I didn't film an outro. But this was part 1 of the story time. The second part will be out on Sunday. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask them in the comments down below. But yeah, don't forget to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. Bye!